continues here on NewsNation as we continue to keep our eyes on Los Angeles, California, the Pacific Palisades neighborhood there, as these wildfires, or at least these fires with these Santa Ana winds, potentially up to 100 miles per hour, continue to rip through the Pacific Palisades neighborhood. If you've ever been to that part of California, you know you go up the PCH, the Pacific Coast Highway. Beautiful sight there on the west coast, the Pacific Ocean, in some of the most beautiful neighborhoods just off to the side of the PCH. And that is where all of this is taking place right now, the Pacific Palisades, a community of about 23,000 or so. The National Weather Service earlier today was warning, be careful to the folks who live in that community. They described a windstorm as life-threatening, extreme, and destructive. And that is exactly what is playing out now. 6 o'clock here on the East Coast, 3 o'clock out on the West Coast in Los Angeles. Our Nancy Liu is in the middle of it all and has been on the ground there for the last many minutes or so. Nancy, first off, take me from the beginning, because I've been witnessing your reporting, and we can see folks running behind you. So, of course, it needs to be said, if at any point you need to go, go.
Yeah.
But when did you first show up there? What did you see, and how did it escalate since then?
This fire broke out at around 10:30 Pacific this morning, and within an hour, we were heading to the fire. We got here, and traffic was nuts. But this fire, in about an hour's time, grew to 200 acres. And behind me, it has now grown to over 770 acres. And behind me is just
Nancy,
one of the homes.
Nancy, it looks like you got to go.
Up in flames. It is extreme. It is pretty smoky. I'm okay for now. Are you okay, Nate? Is our photographer? He's okay. It's very smoky. Okay. And the winds tend to whip around, Blake. So there are times when, we are in the thick smoke, and then a huge gust will just clear things out quickly. And that, really demonstrates how quickly things are changing here. And that's why this fire has spread so fast, is because we've got winds of 50, 60, 70 miles an hour. You know what? We might need to go, because we do have some burning embers that are flying and landing near us. So we need to go.
Don't need to say anything else. Nancy, thank you. Terrific reporting. So as first off, Nancy, thank you. Stay safe, please. Live pictures. Keep the live pictures up from Los Angeles and the Pacific Palisades. So this is what's taking place there, as you just heard Nancy describe, those 50 to 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, at least what it feels like. Keep in mind, a hurricane force wind. We talk about hurricanes all the time. Hurricane force winds are 75 miles per hour, and that is essentially what they are seeing there. You just saw where Nancy was. The darker the smoke means it's obviously active, and that's why Nancy had to go. But as we take a live look there in Los Angeles, you can see on parts of the mountain there. And keep in mind, Pacific Palisades, when you're driving along the Pacific Coast Highway and you go up into the Pacific Palisades, you can go up a couple thousand feet, at least to the top in some parts. And the higher you go, the more the winds whip in that area. And that is what is driving a lot of this. I've been watching Nancy's coverage here for about the last 20 or 30 minutes. And this was a house that wasn't on fire just, 10, 15 minutes or so ago, but you can see how this is jumping from home to home to home. And what is remarkable about this, as you see rescue crews there on the ground and fire crews there off in the distance, is the selflessness of a lot of these rescue crews who run to this fire, who are trying to help. We saw some vehicles as well driving up through those streets as there are evacuation orders, as you can very well understand there in the Los Angeles area. Some of those probably personal vehicles of firefighters running to the scene, others folks who just want to get out. And look at that. This is home after home right now in Los Angeles. And as I've said, we have in parts of Los Angeles, I should say, Pacific Palisades. And you go in that area, there's also worries, as you might imagine, Santa Monica, Malibu, other areas there along the PCH. In the western part of Los Angeles. And our sister station, KTLA, has been on the scene there from the very beginning, and we joined some of their coverage.
Response to the fires today. Governor Newsom tweeting out just moments ago the video you're seeing here on the right-hand side of your screen, saying he's being briefed by CAL FIRE. He said Californians in affected areas should, of course, stay alert, follow evacuation orders. And we keep talking about these cars that were abandoned, and we can't get into their mindset. Of course, you think, if I'm getting surrounded by flames, maybe I should just get out. But another KFI was actually reporting that CHP or some law enforcement was telling people to get out in some parts because the fire was getting too bad. So that's something else to consider here. It's not just people. We keep saying we don't know what we would do in that kind of situation, but now we're hearing they may have been ordered to get out because the flames were surrounding them at some point. Still working to verify that as well. Governor Newsom emphasizing on social media that people need to have a fire kit ready to go in emergency situations. I believe it was Melanie we spoke with earlier who was talking about how she put her photos and videos on a thumb drive and put that on their keychain. And what a brilliant idea to keep those memories and beloved family moments safe in an event like this. We're checking in on traffic still, looking pretty bad around Santa Monica, basically also on the 405 from around the Getty down to the Santa Monica area, because Santa Monica, the city, closed the 10 at Lincoln to help people evacuate from Pacific Palisades. So Governor Newsom in town. As you may recall, President Biden was supposed to be holding an event here in Southern California today. We're hearing that was postponed because of the fires and because of the wind. So maybe that's why Governor Newsom was already in Southern California. We're just seeing that on social media from the governor's office. Keeping an eye on all the power outages, the potential planned safety outages. They call them the PSPS situation here in Southern California. SoCal Edison saying 8% of its customers are within a region that may have power shutoffs. So it's just a reminder, Glenn and Lou, to have those emergency kits ready to go. Usually we're talking about that in the case of an earthquake. Always a reminder to have emergency food, water, etc. ready to go. But today it's a reminder because of the fire in the Palisades.
Yep.
And as you can see, boy, look at the skyline.
Yeah.
Is that downtown? That's downtown Los Angeles?
I believe that's from the parking garage here at KTLA. Yes, looking downtown.
Okay.
Yeah, the air quality is going to be so atrocious. Remember when we first got on at 11, it basically was an image from LAX.
Yeah.
And that huge plume of smoke all along the ocean in the Palisades. You couldn't help but not see it from pretty much anywhere in our city. And it happened so quickly. You know, it's still undetermined as to how this started. But it started and quickly grew from 20 to 200 to 300, and now 770 is our latest assessment.
On the left side of your screen there, that is now looking at LAX. Wow. It almost looks like evening or afternoon, you know, as the sun is setting because of that heavy smoke throughout Southern California. Also just wanted to mention that LA Police Department is still on tactical alert, which means they can free up resources to go help in a wind or fire situation like we're seeing. And there are more than 100 officers dispatched to help with the traffic and evacuations in Pacific Palisades.
Yeah, it's going to be just a mess, and it's going to continue to be a mess on Sunset because that's the thoroughfare trying to, you know, people trying to evacuate, people trying to get back home, trying to figure out, assuming schools are going to be closed tomorrow. But imagine when things calm down, what Palisades Drive will look like.
Glenn and Lou, I just wanted to mention there is a news conference we are expecting soon in regards to the Palisades fire, now more than 770 acres. And LA Fire Department will be holding that news conference. We're told Governor Newsom will be in attendance for that.
Yes, and of course we will take that live as soon as that starts.
We're expecting that, what, about 4 o'clock?
Maybe earlier.
3:30. Okay.
Yeah, 3:30.
Well, that's good. That's coming up just a little more than 20 minutes away. And again, it's been a long day here in Los Angeles, especially for residents in the Pacific Palisades. 770 acres burned, as you see, structure on fire there from earlier, and that's just one of several. We have no idea what the toll was, but this fire doing a lot of damage along Palisades Drive. Unfortunately, a road that starts at Sunset Boulevard, and it has a dead end into a neighborhood, a gated community, and there's only one way in and one way out. That caused a huge traffic jam. And as we saw within the last hour with Gene King, there were so many cars in the road that were abandoned that they had to take a bulldozer and move those cars out of the way so that the fire trucks and other emergency vehicles can get up to try to fight this fire, which is wind-driven as best they can. And again, as we mentioned earlier, it's kind of like whack-a-mole. It flares up in one spot because of flying embers, and they try to contain it, and then it starts burning somewhere else. And it's unfortunately, it's not a battle that you're going to win. You just try to do the best you can to contain it, which our firefighters are the best in the world at doing this, fighting these fires that get out of control like this. But it's going to be a lot of damage to total up when this is over with.
It was really, on a positive note, if we can find a silver lining in any of this, especially when Lauren and Jean were down on Palisades Drive and everyone was freaking out and there was the traffic jam and everyone didn't know what to do. You saw a lot of residents and people helping one another and assisting. At one point, it looked like someone had maybe even run out of gas, which is a great reminder to everyone, including myself, to keep gas in your car. They had to push someone's car kind of out of the way. We're assuming she was running out of gas. But just seeing others help one another in times like this was really nice to see, but really sad as well to see elderly people with masks on and canes and carrying a dog or carrying a cat in a backpack and just sort of aimlessly not knowing where to go. Like you get down to the end of Palisades Drive and you're at Sunset. Okay, great, you're there, but you're on foot. Like, what do you do now, right? Yeah,
and there's also, we were told an assisted living facility for seniors. And, a lot of those people were still in the building. And, having my mother live in one of those places, I know it's like there's not enough staff to get all those people out and get them out safely.
And that quickly.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's impossible. So it's like they got to remain in place till you can get up enough personnel up there to try to move them out and move them someplace safe.
And then that other guy saying that they helped one of their neighbors, an elderly lady who basically was on her deathbed, and her husband was not mobile in terms of being able to help. He had a cane, and they kind of lost track of him. I'm sure he's safe, but they literally had to pick up her mattress. She wasn't mobile, so they had to literally pick up her mattress. Don't know where they put it. Maybe they put it in a truck or something, but things like that, just like checking on your neighbors. A great reminder, too, to, just be in touch with your neighbors. We all have families, and we all have family plans and routes and keys and things like that. But in times like this, when you're at work, possibly, and this breaks out in your neighborhood, to have like a connection, a friend, a neighbor that you trust that you can leave a key with or give information to, or at least have their telephone number to get information. When things like this happen, that's the importance of community.
Yeah. By the way, that shot on your left, it's not downtown Los Angeles, it's actually Century City.
Oh, wow.
I could see it on the big board over there a second ago, and you can see the amount of smoke behind Century City and Santa Monica that's now hovering over.
We've been listening to KTLA, our next star station there in Los Angeles in the Pacific Palisades area, with the devastation in that community. Winds whipping, as our Nancy Liu reported, some 50, 60, 70 miles per hour. We've been watching these fires jump from road to road, tree to tree, home to home in that community. We now know that the Los Angeles Fire Department is going to be speaking in about 15 minutes' time with the update there. Some 700 plus acres at least at this moment. And you know how it often goes in times like this. It starts small and unfortunately gets a lot bigger. But this is believed to be somewhere in the area of 770 acres Our Nancy Liu, if you were watching us here on the Hill at the top of the hour or her coverage before that, was in the middle of it all. Nancy had to go, had to move. She did so. She got in her car with her photographer, drove down the street. I'm told Nancy is safe and on camera with us live. Once again, Nancy, tell me, how far did you go? How difficult was that drive? What do you see where you are now?
We moved a block away, and it is a smoky drive. Visibility is horrible up here. I don't know if you can tell, it's like raining ash and embers. Up in the hills behind us, you could see the orange glow. And earlier we showed you those flames are like 20, 30 feet high. And at times they're being whipped by those gusts that you mentioned, up to 70, possibly 80 miles an hour. And look, the smoke is getting white. So that's how quickly things are changing, because it's so windy. The situation changes. Wow, the wind is kicking up again. So you can hear things falling over. And those winds are what's pushing the flames and spreading the fire and whipping those embers and causing new fires. My cameraman, Nate, he actually stomped out a few of the embers near a home to try and prevent that fire from spreading. But yeah, we're just seeing these embers kick up, hit buildings, hit brush, start new fires. So it's just a horrible situation out here, Blake.
I'm struck, Nancy, when you just jumped back on camera for us. It was dark, and then sort of it got light, and it's back dark again. And this was all just in the matter of a minute here. And I think that goes to show how fast things are changing where you are.
Exactly, and it's dynamic, and it is dangerous. And of course, we're going to move again because it looks to be whipping around again. The dark smoke is heading towards us, and even though we're wearing protection, I can tell you it's stingy. It's really painful out here to be out in these elements for very long. But yeah, it just continues to be a dynamic situation. As you've heard, this fire has already grown to 770 acres. It's not contained at all. It continues to spread as more firefighters pour in from all over LA. Driving around, we saw Monterey Park, Arcadia, just all kinds of departments are pouring into Pacific Palisades to help with this situation, which is really out of control right now.
Yeah, all natural disasters are different and unique in their own right, Nancy. We knew that the area where you are was going to have severe... You need to go?
No, the wind's kicked up, and I don't know if you see how much that kicked up the flames again up on the hill. I mean, even though it's very smoky, when the gusts come, you can just see how those flames, it just fuels those flames even more. And it's such dry conditions out here. There's been talk in Southern California of, more drought conditions. We haven't had any rain in months and months. So conditions are just ripe for a disaster like this.
That's what I was going to ask you, because when you woke up this morning in the Los Angeles area, and your friends and your neighbors, your family, etc., we knew that there were going to be dangerous wind conditions, but was this on anyone's radar potentially?
Well, we were warned because it was severe fire of those high winds because of the that we had a lot of brush.
All right, our Nancy Liu there. Nancy, if you can hear me, I think we've lost your connection there. Take safety if you can, please. And we'll talk to you whenever you feel safe. Our Nancy Liu with fantastic reporting there on the ground in Los Angeles, as we continue to keep our eyes on the skies there above Los Angeles. And what a difference the scene makes depending on where you are. You just saw where Nancy was, all of a sudden dark. Then the skies broke for a second, then back dark again. The wind kicks up. And keep in mind, Nancy told us she only moved a block. It wasn't like she went a mile from where she was. And so you can just imagine block to block to block, What's going on there with the folks who live in that area, who have left that area, and the fire response that is now dealing with that area and around? We are told that in about 10 minutes' time, there will be a press conference from the Los Angeles Fire Department. You can see the podium there. Our coverage continues here on NewsNation. On the other side of the break, our team, our sister station, KTLA, with the best reporting there in Los Angeles. We will rejoin them as well. Stay with us here on NewsNation. Continues here on NewsNation. The fires in the Los Angeles area, specifically in the Pacific Palisades region. If you ever go up the Pacific Coast Highway, that is one of the many communities along that beautiful terrain, that beautiful vast area. And right now the instructions are get out, essentially, if you haven't already, as many homes, and we've been watching here on NewsNation, home after home going up in flames. Again, live pictures here. And as we watch the camera there, what's among the many things to watch is just how quickly the scene can change there. The winds whipping 50, 60, 70 miles an hour, if not more than that. That is hurricane strength winds type stuff. And as our Nancy Liu was reporting, and as we were watching from our sister station, KTLA, the conditions can change at any moment. Joining me now is Margaret Stewart. She is with the Los Angeles Fire Department, live with us here on NewsNation. Margaret, thank you. Where are you? What are you seeing? And what is your message right now for the folks in that area?
Hi. So we're in downtown LA right now.
Okay.
Our primary message to all listeners, viewers, people in the area is to evacuate. We have mandatory evacuation orders for most of the Pacific Palisades. You can go to lafd.org. There's a yellow click here, and it'll take you to our page where we have all of our updates, and there's an interactive map so you can visually see what the evacuation area is. We know we have homes that have been damaged and destroyed, but we don't have numbers. There were a large quantity of vehicles that were left abandoned on the side of a road, which were impeding progress for our apparatus. So those have been pushed aside by a dozer, so we now have clear access, and we are continuing to, we have, by air and ground, have offensive fire attack underway while LAPD and our law enforcement partners are working to safely evacuate everyone.
It is 3:26, Margaret, where you are there in Los Angeles, so you probably have sun for, another 2 hours or so? How much more difficult is this going to get when the sun goes down?
We continue our operations. Obviously, we have to take care when in the hillsides and maneuvering under darkness. However, we don't stop. So we will continue as long as we have to.
Did you have a sense, Margaret? Obviously, the winds, the National Weather Service had warned about winds, and the folks in that area know better than most, if not anyone else, how quickly things could turn. But did you have a sense there this morning that this is what you could be dealing with tonight, and how quickly were you able to adapt?
We knew these winds were forecasted. We knew we had extreme fire weather, which is why we were augmented on our staffing. We had 14 fire engines in different key strategic areas that are prone to wildfire. They were already staffed up beyond our normal staffing. So we were able to very quickly deploy those resources while we pulled additional companies from across the city. And fortunately, we do have our neighboring agencies that are also providing assistance in a mutual aid capacity. So we knew these winds were coming, and we were prepared as best as you possibly can be. But when we do face these 50 to 80 mile per hour gusting winds, and then the fire creates its own weather on top of that, these hillsides that are full of vegetation that haven't burned, it becomes a very, very challenging situation. 770
acres involved at last count, though I'm guessing that's flexible and moving and dynamic.
Yeah,
do you have a sense of how much of this is contained?
Oh, there's no containment at this time. It's in the growth phase. As I say, we are under extreme fire weather with gusts in excess of 80 miles per hour, the wind, so that carries the embers and starts another fire. Our current estimate now, it's over 1,200 acres.
Told now the acreage, I just said 770, but the last update moments ago was 1,262. If you just told me that this is in the growth phase and none of this is contained, Margaret, do you have a sense of how much larger this can grow and how fast?
I don't have a number right now. Obviously, this is burning towards in a westerly direction due to the winds, the Santa Ana winds, and it's driving towards Pacific Coast Highway in the ocean. So I'm not able to give you an estimate at this time. Our focus is life and property. We want to ensure everyone is evacuated. The entire Pacific Palisades area, they need to evacuate per our orders and stay out.
Margaret Stewart with the Los Angeles Fire Department. I'm sure you are more than busy. We appreciate your time. Best of luck, and we hope your crews stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Let's listen in real quick to our sister station, KTLA there in Los Angeles, as their coverage live continues there on the ground.
However, on the other side, if you see that plume of smoke that's blowing over the top of a house, that means something in their backyard has caught fire. So that's why firefighters are looking at this. Unfortunately, very unfavorable wind conditions that they're dealing with. And even during this live shot, it keeps on picking up. And as you see from the leaves on the tree, the wind is not just blowing in one direction. It's almost like a cyclone type of situation where the wind is blowing in multiple directions. So that's why it's not one of those easy fires to fight. They're going to be dealing with this. This is just one neighborhood. This is Bollinger Avenue. As you see, there's kids' toys in the front yard. All of these folks have left this area. But just on the other side of the street, I did see some residents. Firefighters were telling them to get out of here quickly because this is not one of those situations. Hey, sir, I'm going to see. Hey, are you okay? Can I talk to you for a quick second? We're on live television, KTLA 5. Are you doing okay, sir?
Yeah, we're okay. I got to get my elderly parents out of here.
Okay.
The fire department was excellent. They just helped to carry them into the car.
Oh, my goodness. Thank goodness. So what's your name, sir?
Mark.
Mark. Okay. Thank you, Mark.
Okay.
And you're going to get your elderly parents out now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Please be safe. Okay. So, Mark, we don't want to delay him, but as you see right there are still some people out here. He was able to get up here earlier. I saw him drive up through that pathway where the dozer moved about 200 cars earlier. But this is what the firefighters were trying to get to because there are still people in their homes. There are folks trying to get to their loved ones, as you heard from Mark right there, elderly loved ones who couldn't quite get out. They were not mobile. I have seen people with their pets. I have seen older adults, people that are elderly with their canes and their walkers. So, of course, that requires the love and support from neighbors and people trying to get up here. So, as you see, Mark, his car is leaving out there. But this is what firefighters are dealing with. And unfortunately, this is an ongoing situation. Once they put a fire out, they got to move to the next location. And it keeps on going over and over. It's kind of a situation where it's a cycle, Glenn and Lou. That's the very latest out here. I'm going to send it back to you.
All right, Gene, thank you. That's, you get the big story, and then you got the small stories like that, where this, can you imagine? You got to be concerned about your parents, and I got to get in there to get him, and it's, it's hard getting out of there. It's also hard getting in.
Yeah, and then also him saying that the firefighters helped him put his parents in the car. Just so great to see that. And Gene, from Palisades Drive, did you just take a left and then go up a hill into this neighborhood? Is that sort of how you guys got up there?
Yeah. Well, it's a winding road. So the way that we took our live truck is that pathway where the dozer took, that was up Sunset, and then it kind of winds around. And then what we saw is that as we're driving up the pathway to Marquez Avenue and Bollinger, it's not really easy to get up. You have to get through this steep terrain, a lot of beautiful homes. However, as I looked over to the right side of the live truck, the whole valley was on fire, which was quite devastating to see that. And then we made our way up here. Now this whole neighborhood, this is one of multiple neighborhoods out here in Pacific Palisades, but I'm still noticing people maybe across the street over there, some folks talking to each other, see another car coming up on the street on Marquez Avenue. So it was not the easiest thing to get up here. The good news, though, is that the firefighters are here. So they're trying to get these folks out, trying to help them as much as they can. If there are elderly people, people with pets or kids, they're giving them that assistance. So there's that.
Yeah. Looks like a nice, quiet little neighborhood, too.
And the houses seem really close to one another. It just shows the power of probably an ember, like hitting that, unfortunately, that one house.
Yeah, so that's what's been happening exactly with this wind-driven fire. It's very unpredictable. As you mentioned, what happens in these situations is that the wind picks up, an ember could fly into that palm tree, and we've seen it. The palm tree goes up in flames, and then next thing you know, across the street, there's some dry brush or a lawn, or a wooden fence in the front. That kind of thing goes up, and then next thing you know, firefighters are trying to put that out. So they're putting out multiple fires at the same time, simultaneously. So they are doing the best they possibly can, but this is one of those situations where, once again, the unpredictable nature of Mother Nature right now. So the wind is not helping them. And as you see in the background of this live shot, just the dark black smoke that's just looming in the skies. It looks very ominous right now.
Gene, would you say that neighborhood's pretty much evacuated? Because other than those two emergency vehicles, it looks pretty quiet.
Yeah, it looks pretty quiet. I think this was part of that big rush that got down the hill to PCH in the panic. It looks like, at least from the driveways, I've walked at least a block or two, and it appears to be that most of these homes are evacuated. We're seeing, kids' play toys and things like that. So a lot of families living out here. Fortunately, you see a little basketball court here, but most of these folks appear to have gotten out of here as quickly as they could. So hopefully nobody else is really left here.
Well, the good news is you've had that mask and the goggles most of the day. I know that you have mentioned, and Lauren did too, ash in the air, obviously smoke in the air. You've been hit with some water, I think, from the firefighters, and even Lauren at one point when they were dropping water, I think it sprayed onto them at some point too.
Yeah, Lou, honestly, that water was really no big deal, but it was a little surprising. Yeah, we do have the goggles and the mask and all that kind of stuff to try to protect our lungs. I happen to have asthma, so I just got to be careful. Goodness. But even with all this gear on, I can tell you, my eyes are burning. So somehow that smoke is just seeping its way through. And I had a little break in the live truck, and my eyes all red. Probably the least of everyone's worries right now. But I did encounter Andre and Lauren down the hill, and we were just kind of sharing with each other, hey, here's a mask, here's some water, take a little break, just be safe. And that's the beautiful thing, is everyone in this community, firefighters, as well as the media, we've all been just kind of supporting each other, checking on the elderly folks, making sure they're okay, and then just trying to connect them to the services that they need. But quite honestly, this street, as you see, Bollinger, Marquez Avenue, appears to be much more quiet. Just that one house that was up in flames, that is a total loss.
Yeah, Gene. All right, we've been listening there to our next star station, KTLA, in the Los Angeles area, as our coverage continues here on NewsNation. You might have heard me speak with Margaret Stewart, who is the public information officer, or one of them, in Los Angeles, who said their main message at this point in time is to make sure that folks evacuate. And you can see the scene on your screen as the reason why. More than 1,200 acres right now believed to be involved with this fire, with this storm that all of a sudden ripped through Pacific Palisades and parts of Los Angeles earlier today. The Los Angeles Fire Department now live with the very latest.
So this is all for the Palisades fire, which is approximately 1,200 acres. And to go into all the specifics, we have a list of 8 individuals that will speak for you today. After those 8 individuals, we'll have Spanish, and then we'll have follow-up questions. After that, we'll have one-on-one interviews and let you know when the next press conference will be. So we ask at this time, please silence your cell phones, turn down your radios, keep your sidebar conversations off to the side. But to begin with, we'd like to call up the Fire Chief of the Los Angeles City Fire Department, Kristen Crowley.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'll be giving you a brief on what your LEFD has done up to this point. So at 10:30 this morning, a brush fire was reported at 1190 North Piedra Miranda Drive in our local fire station here right behind us at Fire Station 23. Los Angeles is currently experiencing an extreme fire weather condition with red flag alert. At the time of the fire, the relative humidity was 12 and the winds were approximately 25 miles an hour with gusts up to 50 miles per hour. Based on the red flag weather, your LEFD pre-deployed additional resources, made public awareness notifications, and issued parking restrictions in high-hazard fire areas to ensure that the means of access and egress of our local fire stations and apparatus could move up and in around the area. First LEFD resources reported initially a 10-acre fire with 40-mile-per-hour winds and alignment heading towards the west or towards the ocean. The LEFD then requested all resources, including strike teams and aircraft from assisting agencies. We then went into an aggressive attack and focused our efforts on fire life safety operations, beginning with evacuations. Currently, the fire is at 1,261 acres and growing based on aerial reconnaissance. The fire is being fueled by a combination of strong winds and surrounding topography, which is making it extremely challenging for our personnel that are assigned to this incident. We currently have over 250 LEFD firefighters on scene, including 46 engines, 3 trucks, 5 helicopters, 4 brush patrols, 2 water tenders, 6 paramedic ambulances, 1 fast response vehicle, 1 advanced nurse practitioner unit, 2 bulldozers, 10 chief officers, fire investigators, and safety officers. Additionally, we are so grateful for the hundreds of law enforcement officers, partner agencies, first responders, and public work members that are engaged actively in this operation. PCH is closed from Lincoln Tunnel to Topanga Boulevard. Evacuation orders are in place for approximately 30,000 residents, including the Highlands area. North of PCH, south of Topanga Canyon Boulevard, east of Tuna Canyon Road, west of Seabreeze Drive and Surfside Drive. Our evacuation center is the Westwood Recreation Center, located at 1350 South Sepulveda Boulevard in LA. The population threatened is approximately 25,748. Households threatened is approximately 10,367. Structures threatened are approximately 13,208. At this point, we feel very blessed at this point that there's no injuries that are reported. We do have reports of multiple structures that are damaged. Since the beginning of this fire, I've been in constant communication with Mayor Bass, as well as other city leadership, who's working very, very closely. As you can see, this entire entity behind me, we're working seamlessly and closely to ensure that we are protecting lives and property first. So with that, we'll go ahead and introduce the next speaker.
Thank you, Chief Crowley. The next speaker will be the Los Angeles County Fire Chief Maroney.
So good afternoon. My name is Anthony Maroney. I'm the County of Los Angeles Fire Department Chief. Shortly after the start of the Palisades fire, LA County Fire did assist the City of Los Angeles with a first alarm brush assignment. At 11:30 hours this morning, our LA County Fire Department went into unified command with the City of Los Angeles, and at 12:30, our CAL FIRE partners from the state went into unified command with not only LA City Fire, LA County Fire, and LAPD. Currently, LA County Fire is providing aerial resources to fight this brush fire, including our Firehawk helicopters, our CH-47, part of our nighttime QRF resource that we have, in addition to our CL-415 Super Scoopers. We also have 3 engine strike teams assigned and almost 100 LA County Fire personnel. I want to let all of the viewers and listeners know that we are not out of danger. The National Weather Service has predicted that the winds are going to pick up and get worse. We're going to have the most significant wind event between 10 p.m. this evening and 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. So it's incumbent that everybody have a wildfire action plan for their home if they live in a brush-covered area. Please visit the LA County Fire Department website for Ready, Set, Go information. So that's fire.lacounty.gov/RSG. And for the most up-to-date incident information and emergency preparedness information, go to lacounty.gov/emergency. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. During emergencies, always by our side is our friends from law enforcement. So we'd like to invite LAPD Chief of Police Jim McDonald.
Thank you very much. We are here in a support role to our fire partners. Just a quick rundown. We have over 100 officers here deployed, another approximately 60 ready to be deployed once a mission is given to them. So far, the major job for our people have been evacuation, traffic control, allowing ingress and egress to emergency vehicles, and those can be helpful. I would have an ask that if you would, please do everything you can to open up the streets so we can get the resources we need to be able to deal with this emergency. Please take this wind emergency very seriously. As you heard from the speakers before me, this is something that is going to get worse throughout the night, so we all have to look out for each other. Areas of evacuation so far, about 30,000 people have been evacuated from a total of 10,000 households or 15,000 structures, to include businesses and other buildings so far, with no injury. So we're very thankful for that. But we truly ask for all assistance that we can get in making this as smooth as we possibly can. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief McDonald. We'd also like to call up LA County Supervisor Lindsay Horvath, please.
Thank you. My deepest thanks to the first responders who are working tirelessly to fight this Palisades fire. Moments ago, Chair Barger signed LA County's emergency proclamation for this fire, for the severe wind event and all of the fires related to it. As the National Weather Service predicted, this is a life-threatening situation. To our Palisades and Topanga community under evacuation order, please leave. Ensure your home is unlocked, the power is off, and making sure first responders can easily access the structure. This is essential to keeping you safe and to allowing fire and first responder personnel to do their work. For our unincorporated communities in Santa Monica Mountains, including Sunset Mesa, Topanga Canyon, and Malibu, all under evacuation order and evacuation warning, please ensure you are checking emergency.lacounty.gov and heeding all door-to-door information from our LA County Sheriff and Fire Departments. Thanks to our partners at the Topanga Coalition for Emergency Preparedness, who work year-round to practice evacuation drills and emergency preparedness, and they're working tirelessly right now to ensure information is shared across Topanga. For those with livestock, the evacuation location is Pierce College. For those needing small animal evacuation location, the Agora Animal Shelter is available to you. Thank you to Governor Newsom for your quick support and coordination. Thanks to Mayor Bass, to Councilmember Park, and all of the council members in the city, and all of our partners, city, county, and state, unified and working together to keep people safe and address this fire. The county and city of Los Angeles have a lot of experience in unified command. This emergency is no different. We're dedicating every resource we can to urgently contain this fire. I want to extend my gratitude to the Los Angeles.
All right, we've been listening to officials there in the greater Los Angeles area as this fire there in the Pacific Palisades area continues. The good news that we learned so far is that there are no injuries, at least according to authorities, with all of this. 13,000 structures, they say, are threatened, but, quote, we are not out of danger. The winds that are in the area of 50, 60, 70 miles per hour, if not higher at many points, in some cases hurricane force winds, are expected to get stronger this evening. As we learned and as we continue to look live, that the winds are going to be even higher from 10 o'clock tonight local time until 5 in the morning. Unfortunately, this is just beginning in Los Angeles, in Pacific Palisades, and in surrounding communities. Our Nancy Liu is on the ground for us once again in an area as she has been sort of going block by block and telling us when she is safe. Nancy, where are you right now? Tell us what you see and how it differs from where you've been in the recent moments.
Blake, I'm sure you can recall the house that I was standing at the beginning of your show. That house is lost, and this is the house that was next to it. So that house is also now completely in flames. And you can see how the winds are just fueling those flames. And so it's just spreading those embers to other homes. So it's likely that more homes could spark because of this home that is on fire. And I just want to quickly clarify, because I know a lot of people are concerned about my safety. We do have an escape route plotted and planned, so we can make a quick escape when we need to. So thanks, everyone, for your concern. But we are okay. But we do want to show you how dynamic this situation is and how quickly things are changing. So, Blake, I mean, look at that. It's just continuing to whip, but you heard during that news conference that the worst of the winds have yet to come.
Yeah, so that's remarkable, right, Nancy?
It's supposed to go until tomorrow morning.
Yeah, we just learned in that news conference that these winds, 10 o'clock tonight, it is 3:50 local time where you are, which means the worst is expected to come starting 6 hours from now.
Yes, and we've already experienced gusts of probably 60, perhaps 70 miles an hour, and that's why this fire became such a big one so quickly. You heard it. It is now nearly 1,300 acres. It is not contained, and also the evacuation zone is now stretching up to Malibu. So we're talking tens of thousands of people who live along the coastal areas northwest of downtown LA. So this is just a significant, horrific disaster zone that has impacted, much of Southern California. And these winds are not just threatening this area. Of course, it's threatening the entire region. So the worst is coming, so it's quite possible that other fires could spark up. In fact, there are probably more fires growing here in the Pacific Palisades area just from the embers and these winds that keep whipping things around, Blake.
As Nancy said, we are only going to Nancy on the ground there when she feels safe. It is remarkable to see how close Nancy is, what is happening behind her as she goes from street to street. Nancy, I gotta take a quick break if you don't mind. Stay safe. We're back in a few minutes. Nancy Liu there in Los Angeles, other side of the break. Hours and into the morning hours. Our Nancy Liu is back with us once again on the streets there of Pacific Palisades. Nancy?
And Blake, the wind gusts, they are picking up at times. I do feel it trying to push me over. Behind me, that house fire, it's only gotten worse. We're hearing walls tumbling. The roof is probably about to go. It is a goner. The smoke is so thick that you can't see past it, but if you could see another house that's already in flames on the ground, another house beyond that that's already a goner as well. We heard in that news conference, they said that there have been a number of structures damaged, and I'm sure that many homes have been lost, and it's because there's no number, because crews have not been able to even go around and do any assessing, because this is such a changing situation by the minute. This fire, it broke out so fast, it spread so fast, Blake, and you can see that the smoke billowing, Blake, and that just shows you, the wind, and this is not even a strong gust right now, but that smoke is just billowing quickly, and the winds, the gusts, they're coming back.
And you can see how it goes potentially.
This entire region. And here we have a fire truck going by up the hill. Blake, you can't see it because of the smoke, but I believe that might be a volunteer firefighter single-handedly trying to save one of the homes off in the distance there. But we have yet to see, any big rigs, any big trucks heading up this way. And that's because there are so many fires going right now.